We're looking at the ecstatic affair, the excitement that right now is visible on that platform at the Indian Diaspora event with Prime Minister Modi shortly to arrive there. He will be addressing huge crowds, nearly 16,000 people who've already arrived to witness Prime Minister Modi speaking, interacting with them. Modi and Us, that's what this event is called, scheduled in New York's Long Island at the Grand Coliseum venue. In fact, we're looking at the ecstatic Indian diaspora that's ready to interact with the Prime Minister, waiting for his arrival with nearly 400 performances that's been prepared to play out in honor of Prime Minister Modi. Geeta Mohan joining us for more on that. Geeta, over to you on the excitement, the build-up at the Indian Diaspora event. We see it time and again in the United States, often the grandest one. This time no different as well. Prime Minister Modi's first visit after his third term. It seems like a huge performance and build-up and, a grand celebration has been put together in honor of him.
Well, absolutely, Nabila. But what is different this time around is that it's grander. That we have seen a lot of events in the past as well. And we've seen a lot of these Indian diaspora community coming together to showcase the Indian culture, heritage on foreign soil. And we've seen performances, but I suppose Gaurav would agree with me to the extent of saying that the variety and the showcasing of Indian dance forms, Indian music, is something that we've not seen before. So there has been a massive variety of performances from across India in terms of showcasing Indian culture, dance, so on and so forth, including Bihu that we witnessed just a while ago. So a lot of variety, a lot of diversity over there, and an enthused Indian community waiting to hear from Prime Minister Modi. This is also going to be a very significant speech of the Prime Minister because this is his first visit to the US after assuming office for the third time. There are two places where he's actually delivering remarks. Apart from the fact that there were opening remarks that we heard from him at the Quad. And the remarks are this Indian community event where he's going to again talk about India and the United States of America, the importance of the diaspora, so on and so forth. And then the very important Summit of the Future event where he's going to make the India remarks, deliver the India statement. And that again is going to be very, very important. Nabila, he goes to the US to attend the UN initiative at a time when the world is really grappling with conflicts, with crises across the world, and therefore the statement is going to be significant. But look at the visuals, look at the stage. We saw the Madison Square Gardens. It was spectacular in how the Indian community came together and put up the show over there. But this certainly seems much bigger. We're told about 13,500 people, counting and more, are there at the venue. So a very, very massive event for Prime Minister Modi. Let's see how Prime Minister Modi lives up to this massive gathering in terms of what he says in his speech.
Gaurav, I mean, Indians do love dance and drama. We're seeing that happening there, and we have so many cultural references, north, south, east, west, and all of that on full display. That's the power of the Indian diaspora, the community in the United States. Barely 1.5% of the population there, but the influence and impact is sizable.
It indeed is. Indians are very, very strong as an entity in the United States of America. They carry a lot of clout, financial clout to a very large extent, diplomatic clout, political clout is increasing by the day. And as an entity, especially since they're bonding together. In the past 10 years, I'd covered the Madison Square Garden event of Prime Minister Narendra Modi. I'd covered his event, the Howdy Modi at NRG Stadium in Houston, Texas. There was one which was also in California. I think that was 2016. seeing, which our colleague Rahul Kawal had covered. Now, in all of this, when you see the Prime Minister, each time he goes to the United States, he brings the Indian community together. And that is displaying India's strength. So American political leaders also see this, that in an election year, they are unable to get these crowds, and an Indian political leader is able to get these crowds. And that is why you notice a number of American political leaders, whether Democrats or Republicans, they come for these gatherings because they too are reaching out to the Indian American community, and they realize how important India is in the new world order. There's a new world order that's emerging. The world is going through turmoil. We're seeing the turmoil in Russia and Ukraine. We're seeing that between Israel and Hamas earlier, Israel and Hezbollah now, which is impacting the entire world. And in this scenario, India plays a very critical role in an effort to find peace. That's what the Prime Minister was talking about at Quad. Minimize the impact of conflict, maximize the goals and gains from peace and democracies. That's the Prime Minister's big message.
So I read that Indians generate nearly 1 trillion in revenue for the United States and has employed nearly 2.7 million Americans in Indian origin owned companies. So that's the kind of influence that they do have, which is why when there is a diaspora event, maybe Rohit could jump in on this, when there is a diaspora event of such nature, what are the kind of permissions you really need? Has there been any obstacles or resistance from the US government? Because we've seen this time and again, it's not new for us. The Indian diaspora welcoming Prime Minister Modi in the last 3 terms has happened a few times. Has the government in the United States been very welcome and accommodating in giving out permissions and clearances, etc.?
Well, look, I mean, all the Indian American organizations know pretty well they have to follow the law of the land. And look, honestly, they have a lot of pull. I spoke to somebody right before we were doing the live, and they said they only had 6 weeks to plan this out. And it's a massive feat to pull this out in 6 weeks. That meant they had to call in favors, they had to call in the right people, they had to make sure everything aligned properly, and this had to happen in New York. And they did not want to repeat Madison Square Garden. Look, when the NRIs in America are doing an event like this, they're not thinking about just the event. They're also thinking they're competing with other NRIs in UK and Australia and other countries. So they want to always present
so we're seeing
bigger
a competition of diasporas
for the Prime Minister, right? So they were like, we're going to go.
That's interesting.
Absolutely, absolutely. They wanted to do it bigger and better and different. So they were like, let's take the Prime Minister to Long Island. Yeah, let's take the Prime Minister to Long Island and do it over there. It's not easy, but they make it happen. And that speaks volumes about the influence and connections that Indian American leaders have in America to be able to deliver on such a big stage.
Fantastic. We're looking forward to see Prime Minister Modi's arrival. Rohit, you've got to give us a lowdown on what time is Prime Minister arriving. He's already landed in New York, I hear.
Yeah, he is in New York. I mean, he was supposed to be here at 11:45 is what the times were shared with us. But we just got an inside scoop that Indian musician, a South Indian superstar musician, Baby Street Prasad is going to perform. There will be Hanuman Kind, a new age rapper who's also going to perform, and also Atul Gadvi, who is going to perform before the Prime Minister takes stage. So we're running a little behind, but these are the performers they've been able to rope in. Again, remember we're talking about the pull that the organizers have to get all these guys to come in and perform, and for free to everybody who's walked in. It's just priceless for them to be able to watch them perform live and then have the Prime Minister speak. So it's going to be running a little late, we're a little behind, we will get there in time.
All right.